And something I do believe is people want to be a part of growth. They want to say like, dude, I remember the first episode of Ordinary Friends, and you're on episode what now?
Yeah.
Like that's something I think that again no one can ever take away from you.
Yo, what's up, freaks? Welcome back to another episode. Today we have former basketball player, DJ, entrepreneur, founder of the DareToBe movement, and now author, Shawna Nicols.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's crazy to hear. But thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
No, we're so happy to have you here.
I think we've been wanting to do this for a long time now. Right. Like, ever since we met you, you're like, oh, we gotta get her on the type of thing. It's just the affections, energy. But one of the things I want to talk about straight off the bat, when we first met, you mentioned that you felt like you were born with the ball.
Yeah.
That's something that you've always known, right? So what does basketball mean to you?
That's a great question. I think the line that you're referring to, I feel like I was born with the bat. I came out of the womb with a basketball in my hands. Honestly, basketball has been such an incredible vehicle for me. And I couldn't make it to the Final Four as a basketball player, but I found a way to make it as a DJ and an MC. And basketball was something that, honestly, I got to travel the world because I could dribble a ball and put it in a 10-foot rim. And it's something, I talk about it, it's like the hardest breakup I think I've ever had to go through. But it's something I think I'm always going to love because I love it still. If you had a basketball in here right now, it would be hard for me to like sit down.
We have put Chelsea in the
right, I know,
probably
we put a hoop over here. But it's literally just been a phenomenon. There's so many layers to it. It's an incredible, for me, it's a game. It just resonates with me. I grew up playing on the playgrounds. I never had a hoop. So for me, it was how I made friends. It was how everybody wants to find that one thing that like makes you stand out, right? And for me, for the longest time, it was basketball. I'm at that age where people were like, oh, you're going to be the first NBA player because the WNBA didn't exist yet. And, things like that. And so it was like, you hear all these things and then, you kind of realize like, oh, I'm okay at this. Like, and I like it. Like I wake up and I want to put a ball in my hand. So I have my education because of it, and I could not be more grateful for that. My undergrad from the University of Wisconsin, I have a master's in communication from the University of Bellarmine, and then I got to play professionally and see Europe, and got to travel across the United States, and I still to this day, I just literally last week got home from the women's 2018 Final Four in Columbus, and I was there last year in Dallas, and I'm excited about what the future holds with basketball. So it means more to me than just a game. As LeBron said, we're not just athletes. It's not just a game. It's bigger than the game.
Yeah. That's great.
Thank you.
You were growing up 3-time All-State player.
I didn't know the internet still was going to be
Between other things, like you mentioned, you played Division I basketball at Wisconsin, but during the time you went through some tribulations, some struggles, injuries, kind of pulled you back from the game a little bit. Can you take us back to that time, that struggle, and how did you cope with that and move forward? Because you went on to play professional basketball, so just take us up to that.
Okay, all right. Man, it's funny because again, I work with teenagers, and we talk about how important social media is and what they're putting out there, and their content and how they're representing themselves when they're being recruited. And I was like, I'm lucky because I'm like on that cusp of like when the internet like started to pop off, like Google was a thing. But it's so you could like you have to work at it, but like to get stuff on me. But you can't find game film was hard for me to find, but sometimes that stuff comes up. Like it's so thank you. Yeah. But it feels like it was so long ago because it wasn't at the same time because then you bring up the injuries and so when I was at Wisconsin, I was pretty tiny for the Big Ten. I think my freshman year I was lucky if I weighed 120 pounds, like soaking wet. And so I gained 20 pounds from the weight room. So my playing weight at the time was like 140 when I was at Wisconsin. And I was still small. I still wasn't I'm 5'9", 5'9.5", and like in the regular world, I'm like tall for a woman.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like I said, I just got back from the women's Final Four, and I'm walking around, and it makes my heart so happy because it makes me feel like I'm a part of a team again.
Yeah.
And I'm walking around and like high fiving, like, you know, like 6'7" WNBA All Stars, and so that was my world at Wisconsin. We had 6'6" and 6'7", and then you know 6'1", 6'2", but women that lifted, that literally are true posts.
Yeah.
And so that was what I was going up against. And I took a lot of charges, which was kind of like my thing. I was at the time, I don't want to say a defensive specialist, but I took a lot of pride in my defense.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, again, coming from Pius, a lot of things that we would take pride in. Defense was one of them. And again, being too small, it's my freshman and sophomore year, more towards the second half of my freshman year, I started taking too many charges. And it was like that secondary impact. So if you're an athlete, you know, it wasn't the first hit.
Yeah.
It was often then, so I would take a hit, usually because these girls can sky, like a knee to my chest. And I would literally take the charge. Like it would never be fake. It was never, I was in it, man. Like I was committed to it. And so I would take a hit, and it would be the secondary impact so all my headaches are up like in my frontal lobe.
Gotcha.
And so the beginning of my junior year, actually I think a week before Halloween, and I remember that because if you've ever gone to Madison or you're part of Madison, like Halloween is like and especially when so I remember that. I don't remember a lot, but I remember it being near Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told actually to never play basketball again. So this was also then at the time where concussion started to come a little bit more to the surface on the definition of a concussion. And this was when it was being defined as more than just being like knocked out cold. So learning the different levels, so level 1, 2, 3, I think, and learning and understanding you don't have to be knocked out cold to get a concussion.
Right.
And so I was on the brink of the impact test, which is like a computer test that was developed by a doctor. You take like a baseline test, and then if you get a blow to the head in any sport, you come back and you're not cleared to play until you come back to baseline on that impact test. So it tests your memory, reaction, motor skills, things like that. And so, at the beginning of my junior year at Wisconsin, I was told actually, again, to never play basketball again. At the time, they just thought it was too dangerous for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I finished out at Wisconsin for those 2 years. I was a student assistant coach. I got to spend a lot of time in the weight room with other athletes, and I got my undergrad, and I was in what I call the real world for 2 years, and I genuinely hated life without basketball. I developed like an eating disorder. I don't know if I was like depressed. I didn't think I was, but I just knew. Again, we talked, just about like having a ball in my hands ever since I could remember.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, like it would just be like me just taking that chair out from under you, and like you're just shook and trying to figure out literally how to take a step forward, like what comes next. And I couldn't. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going to happen if I hadn't finished playing, but I thought, tomorrow I practice. Thursday we have a game.
Yeah.
Next season, It didn't matter. I was that kid who never thought. We all think that, right? That we're invincible. I have a Batman like shaker. Like I think I'm a superhero. Like you can't touch me, right? Like I'm not. That's not me. So it was a very humbling experience trying to figure out what comes next. But again, I was just relentless. So I found a doctor to release me. For right or for wrong, I had to sit down with my mom, and I said, this is inside of me, and I need to do this. One of my goals, I really wanted to try to play in the Olympics, but you learn where your level is, and it's good to be honest about that. Mm-hmm. That was not the level of basketball that I could play at. So I had the goal to play professionally, and I wanted it. I at least wanted to try. I at least wanted to feel like I gave it 100%. So I found a doctor to release me, and per NCAA rules, for Division I, once you step foot on campus, you have 5 years to compete for 4. So I had expired that 5 years, if you can kind of keep up, and I can draw it for you right here.
Right.
So I had expired that 5 years, so I was, what we say, too old to play Division I, to go back D1.
Yeah.
But the way all the rules were and the loopholes worked, I could go back and finish Division II. So I got a full ride and finished at Bellarmine University in Louisville, Kentucky. I was a 26-year-old senior. My mom came to Louisville for my senior day, and that was like, I remember that. That was pretty astounding. And then I got to go play professionally overseas. So I think that a long answer to a really great question. There's so many layers to it. It was something that it really tested me and what I wanted to do. And it truly was, I think I always go back to that junior year. And I remember, again, I don't remember where we were sitting, but I remember Dr. Carr, and she looked me in the eyes. And this was hard because we had developed a really good relationship because we spent a lot of time together. Yeah. And her having to share this news with me that I was never supposed to play basketball again, in their opinion. So it was no disrespect to them. I just wanted to do it. Yeah. And we have a relationship to this day, and she loves getting updates on me and knowing that I'm happy and healthy. And but that day was just something, again, that totally blindsided me. And even though I was getting concussions at Wisconsin, I never thought that was a possibility. Right. That all of a sudden someone was going to say, nope. Yeah, right. Yeah. We're just, yes.
I can imagine, especially like you said, I feel like anyone, they get, for me, for like, can't play soccer, even that wasn't like my goal, but still just someone telling you that, I can't even imagine for you with that, that was your shot, that was your one thing.
It was my ticket, honestly, exactly. It was, yeah.
That's crazy.
That's nuts. So, you're talking about, obviously getting rid of, and then playing professionally. You went on travel in Europe. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and how was it to play as an American in a different country? Yeah. And how they see basketball?
Yeah, absolutely. That was, you immediately bring a smile to my face because it's some of my best memories that I have. I think because I did it. Yeah. And and it was, again, the epitome. I remember people finding out that I was a 26-year-old senior, even back home, and people finding out that I was trying to play pro, and just hearing, it wasn't ever directly in my face, but like hearing people talk like, man, just give it up, like why? And admittedly, in my experience, normally a lot of women don't understand. Very few, a lot of guys' faces light up because I just think it's just different. It's just, I think I just have it in me, and I think, there's stories. There's a story about like a dad going back to a school in Texas to play football, and so it's rare, I think, for these kinds of stories to happen, but I did it. And to me, that's something nobody can ever take away the fact that I'm a professional athlete, and that's something that I'm incredibly proud of. And I don't tout it. It really was for me because I wanted to know if I could do it. I wanted to know. It fueled me what other people were saying, but I wasn't doing it to be like, look at me now. Yeah. I really was doing it because if you rewind a couple minutes ago, it was inside of me. Yeah. And I didn't know how else to live without giving it everything I knew. So when I was trying to play pro, I set a date, like an end date, so that I didn't go ballistic. So I set almost an expiration date on how long I was going to try. And I reached it, I think, as soon as honestly, I went overseas and I got picked up when I was over there. Like I went to a camp. I didn't know how to go about doing this, and I went to a camp, and that's how I got picked up. And I remember I was with my best friend Leanne, who's from England, and I was at her house outside of London, and we were sitting on her bed, like packing to go somewhere, and I remember I checked my phone, or however you check emails then.
BlackBerry.
And maybe it was a BlackBerry, I was DMing back home. Right. And I got an email and saying, we have a team interested, and here's a contract, and please read it over, and I like look ballistic. Oh, like sure. That, like just and if you've ever been to Europe, like everything's smaller over there. So now I'm huge, and like physically huge, and so it's a tiny house. Like I remember like feeling like if I jumped, I was gonna hit my head on the ceiling, like kind of. So I'm like feeling like I'm like this giant monster in a house, and in this tiny house, and they gave up that to this day. And then just being overseas, I loved it. I loved the challenge. I was in Holland my first year. I loved the challenge of knowing nothing about Dutch. And Dutch is a difficult language to learn. I can count to 10. And I think I can still say like travel and sub and lots of basketball necessary. Yeah. But it's something that I loved, like being out of my comfort zone and not knowing what that sign says, and literally just like using again all of my senses in different ways to get around. And I remember the first day I got there, you're jet lagged and everything. You have 2 huge bags because that's what you're gonna live with for the next 7 to 9 months. Mm-hmm. Like that's it, 2 bags of clothes or whatever, shoes. And I remember getting to my place and I didn't have internet the first day, and you're jet lagged and it's just me. And like, so I'm just like, I remember laying in my bed in Groningen, Netherlands, and I was like, what's the number for 911? For like 2 weeks. I was like, what? I was freaking out, and I didn't have internet, and I couldn't even let my mom know that I had arrived. Right. So bless her heart for like being so patient and just like trusting the process and that everything was going to work out. Right. But it was incredible. We got to travel all over Holland. We put this the way that it's worked, and Holland's a small country. I think it took 3 hours north to south and 3 hours east and west. So I got to see the entire country, and it was astounding. One of the best experiences again I had because I could throw basketball, and picked up a little bit of Dutch, but some phenomenal experiences. My mom and late stepdad came over for Thanksgiving, and we had tapas for Thanksgiving dinner. I remember that in Amsterdam, and it's just so cool. And I was the only American on the team. We had another player from, I forgot where she's from, and that's not good, but I feel bad. But I was the only American, and so it was from a basketball standpoint, it was an interesting dynamic to learn and to see how things are. And they look at basketball differently over there. They had very few professional players. If they were professional players, I think more often than not they were then on the national team. And then everybody else had jobs or was in school, and then basketball was like what they did. So there was not like how we have University of Wisconsin. Yeah. You didn't go to school, play for them, you played for your city. So if you understand soccer, right, it's similar to that. So, yeah.
Okay. So, let's say, basketball to you is more than a sport. Yeah. It's kind of like your life in a sense.
It kind of is, yeah.
And, you were relentless, you succeeded, you got to where you wanted. And now you're kind of, like I said, basketball is obviously still there, always going to be there, but you're in a different state of your life, not pursuing something else. Right. Can you tell us, where does the music come in? Where does the DJing? Because I think that's what, in a sense, you're knowing a little bit more for now, for the DJing. And I mean, we've chatted before, and you see it's more than DJing to you, just like basketball is, it was more than just a game. So where does music and DJ come in the picture?
It's a great question. This is fun because I feel everybody has a really phenomenal story. Yeah. I just think there's so many layers sometimes. Oh, yeah. And I think we've even talked about before, if you've read the books Choose Your Own Adventures, I think you guys might have heard me bring that up before. Right. That's what I feel like my life has been. Like if you want to try to play basketball, turn to page 7. If you want to go overseas, go to page 37. Like so different things like that. Like had I chosen a different page, who knows? It's been very technically I think unconventional, but here we are today. I'm happy and I think I'm having so much fun. So and I think a lot of athletes can identify with this. I mean, if you go on Instagram and you look at LeBron James' Instagram story, more often than not, how many times is he jamming out in his car to the new Future song or the new Drake song that dropped last night? So to me as an athlete, music has always been there. That's something, you have your headphones on before games, you put thought into your pregame warm-up tapes and CDs. Right. Like that's something that I got goosebumps just like thinking, and when I look back, I was like always the person that people were coming to like, hey, can you put our warm-up CD together? Can you put our warm-up music together? And I was like, yeah. Like, give me, because I wanted everybody's input, and I think I realized early on it was important. So when I lived down south, they had country sometimes, and now it's something that like makes me smile. But as a basketball player at the time, I was like, I can't warm up to, you know, like chicken fried country chicken something trucks, and it was interesting then when I accidentally became a DJ. Because music has always been a part of my life, and it actually started again. So if we rewind a little bit, after I graduated undergrad at Wisconsin.
Okay.
So I moved away for a little bit. I lived in Colorado for a while. But then after undergrad and when I came back to Milwaukee, I don't even know how old I was hanging out with people that went out a lot, as most, like 22, 23-year-olds do, right? And so I've never drank alcohol in my life. And so I realized like if you don't have something in your hands, like people get really uncomfortable. And so water wasn't good enough sometimes. And I didn't like lemon in my water at the time either to like try to trick people. I was like, everyone's like, just throw lemon in there. I was like, I don't want lemon in my water. Like, I don't even want, why? Like, you're uncomfortable. Like, I'm good. I'm good.
Right.
So I was actually at Walker's Pint over here on 2nd and National, and there was a Saturday night DJ there. This guy just immediately, like when you looked at his name was DJ Rockdy. When you looked at him, he had this amazing smile, and he was just cool. Like he's so cool. Like he had it all, the full package. When you looked at him, you're like. Yes. So I remember, and admittedly Rockdy is no longer here, so he can't tell his side of the story. What I felt like was like weeks. I posted up. So it's a tiny space. Like our table where we DJ isn't even this big. It's probably maybe 4/5 of this. Okay. And I posted up, then there's a little walkway to get like behind the booth, and I just posted up on that wall. I don't remember saying a word to this guy for weeks. And I just watched his hands. At the time he was playing records, so he was carrying in crates. Yeah. Like what exists today didn't exist then. Serato and Tractor and MP3 stuff didn't exist then, right? So turntables, mixer, I don't even know what mixer was. Like he just had it. He always had a cool hat on, and he had his own t-shirt line too, like all this cool stuff. And I just remember one day he looked up at me and he's like, "Are you a DJ?" And I'm like, "No." "Do you want to be a DJ?" "Okay." Like, literally, like, "Sure. Call me when you get some turntables." The next day, I went out, and the girl I was dating at the time, we went to a place, I don't know if you remember, Trounce. Again, it was a downtown place. And I have no idea what I'm doing, but I think the internet now was prevalent at this time. We could Google like DJ gear, Milwaukee, and Trounce popped up first place, which I learned a lot of history about it, and that was the spot for like DJs to get their stuff. We literally went and picked up turntables and a mixer, and I called them the next day. And now fast forward, 13, 14 years, and it's what I do for a living. And I think, I honestly, I have tattoos for rock, and I try to carry them with me. And if you go back to that night at the Pint when he looked up at me, I had no idea. If he would have been like, "Get 2 turntables. In 13 years, you're going to be DJing the Women's Final Four and the MC, and you're going to be able to travel the world because you're going to be a good DJ." I'd be like, "Okay." Where do I sign? Right. That would have never, I still don't believe it. Like, it's just, again, it feels like it's being relentless and continuing to just see what happens and to be happy. I think doing things the right way for the right reasons is important. And I feel lucky that it's become, like you're saying, like the next chapter after basketball. Because it really does feel like so far my life has had like 2 chapters. Yeah. Only 2. Basketball and DJing. And then there's like all this stuff in between, right? You know, that like fills in and makes those chapters have some juice. Yeah.
I mean, going back a little bit. Yeah. When we first met, you talked about, after these fun times of learning, experiencing the music, finally being able to like open and be the main event type of thing at the bar and stuff like that. After a couple of years, you felt like it was started to get boring, right? You got stagnant.
Yeah.
How do you, in a sense, how do you deal with that? And I think maybe it also relates to your previous endeavor of becoming a professional, that being pulled from you. How did you cope with that sense of like, all right, how do I make this? How do I keep stirring up the pot? And with that, did those bigger opportunities kind of start landing? Did you see that? Like,
Yeah. That's a good question. And so again, I've been spinning, I think, for 13 years. And so when the timing happened, I was just, the first 2 years was with rock only on Saturday nights. I wouldn't even say it was a career, it was a hobby. And it was how I got to hang out with friends. And that moment I realized like they're closing out their tabs and like paying money, and like rock was handing me cash. And I was like, ooh. Okay, this is sweet. Like I'll take your $20 for like the night. Like I'll take that. That was awesome. And so, kind of then fast forward through the story. Lived down south. I DJed in a trailer, 2 kegs and a door somebody ripped off. I kid you not. I can't make this stuff up. My brain's not that fantastical. So I did that, and I DJed in a barn, a legit barn that someone threw a barn party in. It was just, it was kind of then, again, the epitome of like being the DJ basketball player. Yeah. And they wanted to have parties, and I was like, I got turntables and music, like, let's do this. Yeah. And then I got to be overseas, and I didn't bring my gear with me, obviously, but that was when I got introduced to CDJs. And some DJs were so cool over there, like you just go up and say hi, and I got opportunities. And so that was something that wasn't really like official. Like I never really got booked. It would just be like, come on up, like, you know, like, and it was just so kind of them. So had opportunities technically, I guess, to spin overseas, come back home, playing professional basketball. I was done, and I was trying to figure out again, now what? Like, now what? Mm-hmm. And I train basketball players. It's what I also do, another part of my living. And then at the time I was DJing full time as well. And I was hustling, like on the phone calling people like, hey, do you need a DJ for whatever night you don't have a DJ for? Like I want to work. And I got to like 6 nights a week. And sometimes it was the same place, numerous nights. And it just, I loved it, and I appreciate the opportunity. But I think as with any story, when you continue to grow, you look at 10,000 hour theory. Like I had to have hit 10,000 hours at some point in time, and it just is like you're saying, like what's next? Yeah. And so for my story, it was just becoming I just started to feel empty, and I didn't want to lose the love of it because of the environment I was choosing to be. So it's never a disrespect to people who drink alcohol or alcohol sales, because I wouldn't be a DJ without alcohol. Like I recognize that. I just don't, it's not for me. I don't talk about it and I don't promote it. And I realize that's not my brand. It's not what I'm about. I don't care about how many people are in VIP or how many bottles we sold. Mm-hmm. I care about the experience, and I care about memories. So if you happen to buy a bottle, like, cool, sweet. Did you sing along to Backstreet Boys though? Did you sing to Britney Spears, or did you sing to Future? Like, did you like things like that? That's how I looked at it. So I knew, seemingly, I was looking at things differently. I didn't think that I was looking at it wrong because I felt it, but I was starting to compare myself. I love mostly all the guys. There's a lot of guys in our city that are DJs that are really prominent and phenomenal DJs, and I respect everything that they do. But I realized like I'm not them, and so it was trying to find my own voice and trying to find like where I fit and what made sense. And so, admittedly, again, you're going to see like so many patterns in the story. I set a date. I set an end date, and I said, by this time, if I don't have a manager, if I'm not happy, then I'm done. Because I didn't, it's always been my life model, like I want to do something because I want to do it. I don't want to do something because I have to do it. Mm-hmm. Right. And if you could, like I've worked for myself ever since basketball was done. Like I've had a couple of like jobs, we could probably, giggle about, but for the most part, I've been, I guess, essentially an entrepreneur since undergrad. Like I just, just figuring out what I want to do and how to make this place a little bit of a better place than it was before I was here. So the first thing on that list of like when I set a deadline was get a manager. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew like if I had a manager, even the status of saying like DJ Shawna and manager person here, I don't know, like let's see what happens.
Right.
And it happened, like it happened, and it literally like it just happened. And so Chad and I have been working together now, I think going on 2 years. Mm-hmm. And he has become one of my best friends. And I just actually texted him yesterday because literally it's such an interesting relationship. He's outside of Chicago, and so we talk a lot. Mm-hmm. And there's days where we don't talk at all. But when like we've had a lot of really fun stuff going on, I feel bad, like almost like I feel like I'm like calling like a girlfriend. Like, oh my God, guess what happened? Did you hear this? This guy just called me and I just got this inbox from this person. And so I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry that you get like every single update about my day. I was like, I just get excited and I don't have a lot of people that I talk to about it and I want to keep you informed. And so that's our relationship. And Chad changed my life, I think. Like, and he probably would be so humble and not even take that, but literally like overnight from an SEO perspective, my website is amazing, and that's Chad. Like everything, so DJShawna.com and DareToBe Clothing.com, everything that we do, we set up a social media plan, which you guys can probably appreciate, and being consistent and having a voice, a consistent voice, and and then, posting consistent, all these things that go into play that everybody talks about on podcasts and like how to make it. And we found again what works for me. And literally from that moment on, that's when I started getting, ironically, like I got, and I don't know if it's just a serendipitous thing that happened, but it happened when Chad like came into my world. And so Bucks gigs happened. I got the Marquette women's basketball official DJ and host. I worked for the Brewers. I got to go to the Final Four the first year that I worked with Chad. All of these other opportunities arose and just took things to a different level for me. And so it wasn't like sitting at home all day, like working out and like prepping music and then going to bar A, at 9 o'clock and then working until 2, 3 in the morning and then doing this again. It was hustling on the phone, signing contracts, getting stuff linked up, social media plan, what kind of gear do we need? Like all of this, just things I hadn't been doing before, but that again, I think as a DJ, like I was dreaming about an opportunity to just have, another theme is being able to travel and do stuff and have experiences and meet new people, eat good food and come back home. And talk about it, do it again, right? And that's my goal. And Chad changed my life when it comes to that. So I DJ in mostly the Pine still on Saturday nights, and it's a bar, and it's my favorite place to spin because I can play whatever I want. Yeah. But then during the week, like I'm moving and I'm doing stuff, and it's so fun. And I honestly, right now, when it comes to I've never been happier and more proud of what I've done and excited about future endeavors. Just coming off the women's Final Four and possibilities and the connections and people I got to work with. I worked with a production team that just got home from the Olympics. I worked with that have been in the industry, are amazing at what they do. And so it's just like I have goosebumps. It's such an honor to be a part of like the best Final Four that's ever happened and to have been the official DJ and MC. But then when you look at like the people that like put it all together, their stories, what they know, what they've done, I can't even put it into a sentence for you. It is mind blowing. And again, it's like, I know, I appreciate and know like the really great opportunities I've already had, but then I'm like, tell me about the Olympics. Like, tell me about tell me about the AVP Pro Tour. Like tell me, like all these cool things that, you know, that for now, for me, are just like out there again. So it's been so fun, and Chad's just changed my life. So I feel lucky to be part of the carbon management team. So
That's awesome.
thank you.
You mentioned DareToBe Clothing.
Yes.
You moved and you just started, well, not just started, but you know, I think that's kind of your
Yeah.
other phase and new phase in your life. Tell us how that, you know, that began and that came about.
Yeah.
You're wearing some of the clothing
You
right now,
got
I
it.
see.
Yeah. You gotta be your best brand, right?
Oh,
You have to
of course.
represent yourself best. So it's a great question. And I've actually, so this is my logo. I always joke like I'm not an art major. So, but the response that I've had from this has been really cool. Even, so it existed prior to Chad. And actually I've had this little guy is like tattooed on my bicep here on my sleeve for, I think now 6 years.
Oh, okay.
So for a while. And so DareToBe is also about 2 years old-ish. And I was, again, so I think I study a lot. I think I'm always going to be a forever student. Yeah. And so, I mean, we're told like get a mentor, right? So I have all of these like DJ mentors that don't know that I exist, but I know they exist. Mm-hmm. So I follow them on social media, and what I was seeing, honestly, I'll be flat out honest with you. It was Tiesto that like jumped out at me, and in no way, shape, or form am I comparing myself to Tiesto because, ironically, he's Dutch. But it's, you know, and I feel like we're related. But he's just, his experience and what he's done. He is a legend, right? So why not just like study after the best, right? If you're going to open up a coffee shop, I'm sure we can all think about a coffee shop that we would ideally like blueprint off of because they've been really successful, right? And so I looked at Tiesto and I was like, man, when you think of Tiesto and you like, he has a really great script of his name, and then he's got that kick butt logo. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's so cool. Like, and you know that when you see that not his, it's Tiesto, right? Even if you're not a DJ fan, like you've seen it somewhere and you know something, right? Like something cool. Mm-hmm. And so that was the trend that I was seeing, was that people had the script and the name, but then also another logo. And so I wanted something that was bigger than me. Because when I you know, a lot of people, there are books written about DJs having, you know, God complexes, and it's a powerful thing, and that's probably a whole nother conversation to talk about. Just literally having control of a room or a festival, like it's addicting. If you're an adrenaline junkie like myself, it's fun. Like it's fun. But I wanted something that was bigger than me. It's never, in my opinion, for me, it's never been about me. I love that my name is DJ Shawna because Rock gave it to me, but it's never about me again. In my experience, it's about the experience. It's about everybody. To me, DJing is a very symbiotic relationship. I'm gonna work harder the harder you work, and that might sound silly, but like if I'm getting something back from you, that like I take that as a challenge, like, and I want to give you more. I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah,
so like,
that's the essence of the music.
Right, and yeah, and so that's how I love to function. And so it's not about like, boom, look what I did. It's more about like, boom, you had a great night. Let's hang out again, Nux. Like, thank you, because that's what I love about, is like that look on your face right now. Like when you're just like jamming out, having fun. And we may never see each other again. And we had a great night. Right. But so I wanted something bigger than the DJ Shawna logo, which we also have. And I know that I can't DJ forever. And that was something too that I was thinking about. Like how, I don't know when it's gonna end. And I don't have a date set right now because I'm having too much fun. And I don't know. I honestly don't know. I just know that when that day comes, I don't want to feel like I've felt before, like that something's been ripped out from under me.
Yeah.
So DareToBe is synonymous, I think, with my DJ brand, but it's also its own separate entity as well. So it goes under the umbrella of DJ Shawna, but it really is. I wanted it to be an inspiration. I wanted to motivate people to be and inspire them to be their absolute best selves. And so the logo, like I said, for as simple as it is, which I think a lot of the great logos are really simple, a la the Nike swoosh, it means something different to everybody. And Chad and I put a lot of thought into this, and that's what we wanted. So Chad thought like this was somebody walking away, like with their heart on their sleeve. I've had people think it's something to do with equality, with it not only being a stick figure but also black, and so I love different I love talking to people like, what does this mean to you? Like what different interpretations, because to me it changes every single day, and that's what I enjoy about it. And we left Dare to be open-ended, so we're working on some stuff right now to ideally get some more promos going, and like, hey everybody, my name is DJ Shawna and I dare to be great today. And so like, how are you going to finish that sentence? What are you going to dare to be today? And it could change, like, I dare to be Batman tomorrow, or I dare to be amazing, or I dare to be bold, I dare to be strong, I dare to be fit. Whatever it is, we love that it was open-ended. And we also studied, we look like Calvin Klein underwear, right? Another ad that does a similar thing, American Express, right? So again, a lot of thought goes into these things. And again, I attribute a lot of it to Chad, him being smart and really good at what he does. So Dare to Be has been astounding. It's gotten me speaking opportunities. People think that I'm a motivational speaker. I do, but again, that's something I've kind of made up as I go along, and it really is. I mean, it's just talking about stories and sharing experiences, and I think stories are so powerful. And I think we're doing ourselves a disservice if we don't share our stories. Because the way I look at it, I think kids are our future, and I want to inspire them. And I want a 14-year-old that's sitting in a high school that's maybe listen to me like 50% to like hear something and perk up and be like, you know what? I've always wanted a clothing line, and I want to do that, and like to maybe draw that out of them. Yeah. And to me, that's what Dare to Be has been, and it's been astounding. I literally, again, have people all over the world now wearing it, whether it's in Holland or across the country, and it's been I feel like just really fun, and to just hear people's stories and connect on a different level. Where again, for me, it's not only about music; it's about an experience. So.
It makes me real happy you said, it's about hoping that kid listens to you, because in a sense, I think I would say for me, the majority of this podcast is that if one person listens to you, listens to, previous episodes, to something I said, something Eddie said, and the next day, the next hour, whenever they go out and do something that they got from, your talk, like I said, whoever's, that's what matters to me.
Right.
I don't care about the views at the end of the day. I don't care about any of that. I care that someone watched it and was able to say like, man, she did it. I can do it too.
Right.
Or,
I got goosebumps.
Yeah. So
agreed.
When you said that, I made me so happy, because that's really, to me, the essence of this is I'm hoping to help, a kid in Milwaukee, inner city Milwaukee, wherever, around the world, just watch this and say, especially, I guess, being from Milwaukee, like, man, someone here is actually doing that. Why can I do it? So I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's important again to tell our stories and to be a part of it. If it impacts one person or lights a fire under them, and I actually don't think, this may be terrible of me to say, that I think like motivation, it has to come from within.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that on my Monday motivation talks that I might make you smile, but if it doesn't, it's got to come from within. Right. And I'm not going to motivate you. Be like, you got to do this, man, and you can. I can tell you that all day long. But and that's why I think telling stories is like you said, something just like pinged you, right? Like you felt it and you felt alive. Right. And so that's why I think talking and telling stories and the Monday motivation stuff, those are mini stories. That I think it's important, because that's how rewind how many millions of years ago people are writing on cave walls telling stories. Yeah. And so to me, like, this is something that is never going to go away in telling stories, and just continue trying to. We all want to matter, right? Like, and that's what I think too. Like, you want to make a difference. Yeah. And I first, maybe a little egotistical as it sounds, I would love Dare to Be to live forever. And people, what can you think about like 100 years from now? Like, man, let's see if this old computer works, because they're not going to probably have laptops, right? And then pull Ordinary Freaks podcast. Right. Like, that's cool to think about. Yeah. Like, what's going to happen? Yeah.
It's funny how you mentioned that. Like, motivation comes within. It kind of dovetails nicely to the question I wanted to ask you, like, what motivates you personally? Because, I mean, someone hearing this, I'm freaking cheesing right now, like, I'm going crazy inside, because, like, I feel that energy, and, like, that's motivating me to do what I'm going to do after this, right?
Yeah.
Well, like, I'm just curious, like, from my own personal thing, like, what really motivates you to do something?
It's a good question. For as simple as it sounds, I really, again, it goes back to sports, and bear with me. I was brought up in a house where the name on the back of your jersey doesn't matter as much as the name on the front. So for people who don't know sports, so I played at Wisconsin, so Wisconsin's across my chest, and Nicols, my last name, is on the back. And learning like that team, so whatever it is, whether it's DareToBe or DJ Shawna, representing my family, representing Milwaukee, however you want to look at it, I want to be a good representation of the people that associate with me. And I want to just make it, I really want to make my mom proud. And I think I go about it in a different way than, again, like we talk about traditionally, but it's something that I love when I get like texts or calls from her, and she's like, I'm really proud of you. And you're just like, yeah, thanks, Mom. Like, I'm good. I'll take a nap now. So it really is that. Like, I love making people smile, and I love the trend seems that I feel genuine in saying it, but people also feel how genuine I am. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I appreciate and value. And so again, even coming from the Final Four and the people that I got to meet, and then they post pictures on social media, like I got to high five a 13-year-old that beat me in a shooting contest. And I know her name is Isla. Isla from Ohio beat me. I guarantee you, this kid's we're gonna see her on ESPN. Like I know I'm not good. She's good. Like this kid beat me. Like beautiful jumper and kind. Isla from Ohio is coming for you. But the impacts like that, and so I mean, everybody has bad days, but we have a choice, and that's something that I take a lot of pride in. It's like, man, my life is like nothing. Like, there's so many other things that could happen. So I just want to make people smile and make my mom proud. So that's really what motivates me.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Chapter, you hand me my book back?
Sorry, small.
That's okay.
Small transition.
That's right.
Thank you. So, next thing I want to talk about is this.
Yeah!
What does this mean to you, Shawna?
All right, everybody. This is the Adventures of Bob in downtown Milwaukee. We could talk. We're just getting started. How much longer y'all got? All right. Okay. All right. The real story. So if you didn't know this story, right? It's a book about Bob, our family dog. Yeah. Literally like hanging out in downtown. And for some reason, it's Bob the Girl, which people are having a hard time with. But that's a house I grew up in. And again, love my mother and appreciate. She always wanted a dog named Bob and came home with this beautiful yellow girl lab. So it's Bob. And it fits. Like when you get to meet her, you're like, oh yeah, that's totally Bob. It makes sense. Like, okay. So, I don't know. I think we talked a little bit about this before. So, about a year ago, honestly, like to the date, Final Four last year, I found out that my stepdad, Joe, got diagnosed with stage 4 terminal cancer. And yeah, man, like wow, like literally out of the blue. Again, we're going along. I love my family. Like we're the best. It's the best. Like I feel so lucky. We're not the best. Like everyone has a great family, but I feel lucky. I love my family. And so, like life is good. We're just going along, like going to Brewers games and coming home for the Final Four. Like we're out here like doing stuff, having fun and enjoying each other. And then we get like just literally like punched in the gut. And so Joe passed away then in about 5 months. So he passed away last July. And he was so Bob is now going to be, I think, 11 or 12, 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've lived with Bob in the beginning as well. Like when we first got Bob, I was my mom's roommate as an adult. And so Bob came home and I took care of her whenever I was in Milwaukee. So I walked her every afternoon. And then when Joe was working full time, I took care of Bob essentially. So the last 2 years of Joe's life, he was consulting. He got to be home a lot. And so he spent the last 2 years of Joe's life with Bob. So I backed off a little bit and we spent time together, went to our beach house, and like Bob would like do adventures with Joe, really that only Bob knows about now. And so when Joe passed away, I took over walking Bob again every afternoon when my mom went back to work and things kind of like settled back down. And I think if anybody's ever lost anybody that means the world to them, grief is really nothing you can truly prepare for. You hear stories about it, and it's not, for me, this was, I didn't know what to do. I was feeling sad and then, wanting to smile and live life, and he didn't want us to like sit and mope. He wanted us to keep crushing things and continue to do our part to propel Milwaukee forward. And so literally, this is truly the epitome of, I had no idea that this was going to happen. And we would go out and I would walk her, and I literally, like, these are shot on my phone, like the ones on the cover, like that's how, like, that's crazy to me. And I came up with an idea. So my mom is Beth Weir, who's the executive director of Milwaukee Downtown Bid Number 21. And they had 2 cool projects happen when Joe was still alive. One of which was Sculpture Milwaukee, which is coming back this coming year, and it's astounding. Literally, I think it was like 22, 23 pieces of beautiful, phenomenal pieces of art from the Art Museum all the way down to 6th in Wisconsin, all up and down Wisconsin. And second project was utility boxes with Mauricio Ramirez, who came in and painted 10 utility boxes with his phenomenal interpretation of the Milwaukee history. And one more kind of like that tied into all of this was Key to Change. And so there, if you also look on Wisconsin Avenue, I think there's 6 or 7 refurbished parking meters that are painted gold that look then like a key now. So it's a parking meter, they made it look like a key. And there's a picture, I think Bob has a picture, if you look on like page 1 here, like Bob right here, like that's the Key to Change, like meter right there, that bad boy. And so you can, if you're walking up and down Wisconsin Avenue, put change in there and it goes directly to Key to Change, which is a service to help chronically homeless individuals and families within our community. So I started taking all these pictures of Bob, and I had originally started off like, I'll make a poster like for my mom. It was literally like, what can I do to make my mom happy again? Like, I don't have kids, I work with kids, but I know, and I think we all have somebody that we love, right? And when that person that you love like hurts, well, I want to fix it. Like somehow, I want to make you feel better. If that means giving you like a Reese's peanut butter cup or a book, like I'll do whatever it takes. So I couldn't fix this. I just like it killed me to this day. Like that this happened to Joe and happened to my mom and happened to us. And I started talking. My mom had no idea, so this was a surprise. I didn't like talk to her about this at all. I started talking to her team, and people just were like, "You need to help with a project for Beth," and I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "I'm in, 100%." So this literally is a collaborative effort between myself and my mom's team at Milwaukee Downtown and Gradient Creative. Gradient was astounding, and I could not have done this without them, because everybody's like, I'm gonna write a book someday, and you're like, how do I do this? Like Google doesn't even help you on that side. Like, you still don't know. Like, sit down and write. You're like, yeah, all right, got that part. Now what? Like, so Gradient, this is what they do. They're a creative team, and they're astounding. So I just kept taking pictures, and I kept going on adventures, and then we kept meeting and moving forward, and we wrote a book. And it literally is about Bob, in Milwaukee Downtown, spending a day downtown, and all the proceeds are going to benefit Key to Change. So, again, all of this was literally a gift to my mom in Milwaukee. So I think like the first page, if we go, I wrote these first 2 pages. So in memory of Joe, and dedicated to my mom and best friend, Beth Weirick, and the city our family loves to call home, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And then this first page I wrote, and then this was one of Joe's. This is a Theodore Roosevelt quote that's in here as well. And ironically, then I get goosebumps every time. I won't read the whole thing because I'm sure you've read it, and people can read, but it fits with Dare to Be. And so if you read all of this and how it kind of ties together and how Joe inspired me and he helped with Dare to Be. So this is a Theodore Roosevelt quote, and it says, "Who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that this place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." And I get goosebumps every time I read that. And that was something actually Joe gave to, that quote was a part of something in the last maybe month or so that he was around that he gave to my brother. And so this is literally, and like I said, we can talk about it. It's technically, I guess, a kid's book. So it's, Bob walking around here at Usinger's and the convention center. There's a dog at the Hilton Millie who's awesome. Up and down Wisconsin Avenue. Bob gets a map, on where to go. The river walk. So there's also like Easter eggs in here, what I call Easter eggs for my family. There might be like verbiage in here that doesn't make sense to anybody because it's a familial joke. And then I learned a lot about Joe and his professional life and more about him in his passing than he ever talked about in his real life. And so he was so humble and again, like, it's just what I'm supposed to do kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so he helped develop the river walk. He helped what we know the building as the Blue, the Grand Avenue. So many things a part of this city Joe touched and had a part in actually developing and bringing to life. And so I literally wanted to not only pay homage to him, but I wanted to do my part. I love Milwaukee, and I wanted to give my mom a great gift. So I've set the huge goal of selling 10,000 books, and it was cool to bring my mom in on this and to hear Key to Change in Milwaukee Downtown's goal for Key to Change. And honestly, if you go to keytochange.mke.com, it's cool to learn about how many people are a part of this, but this is, I've learned the first sort of like private side of things that's helping boost Key to Change so that we can hire, they can hire a full-time outreach coordinator. And so that's kind of step one right now. And so they told me how much money they needed to essentially, whether it was fundraising or acquire. And I was like, all right, I'll do the math. I will sell 10,000 books. So that's my goal, to sell 10,000 books. And I think we've sold 200 so far, and I'm making progress. So we've had a lot of opportunities to talk about it. And I would love to go on like a book tour throughout Milwaukee, whether that's, at the end of this year, the beginning of next year. Like, I don't want to stop doing this. And this has been a really fun project, really fun. Nice. Yeah, that's a lot of words, but this means a lot to me. This is something I'm wicked proud of. And
no, I appreciate the book. And
thank you.
My dog did too. We read it together.
Yeah.
Show me some of the pictures, but you gotta check this out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think, it's beautiful that you did that for,
thank you.
Not only for him, but for yourself, for your family, for the city. I think, you touched a lot of people with, with one thing. And I think that's a beautiful thing, out of such a big hard situation, making something amazing or something, kind of that lives past the situation and what happened. So
thank you. I appreciate that. And I got goosebumps again. Again, it's something that just totally snowballed. I didn't know that this was going to be a real thing. And it is. And like I said, I'm extremely proud of it. And so go buy the book, The Adventures of Bob in Downtown Milwaukee. DareToBeClothing.com and brick and mortar retail places near you soon.
What's in the future for DJ Shawna?
The future, man.
What's coming up?
Well, man, I can officially say this. So tonight, literally, when we're recording this, so it's Saturday, April 7th, right? Tonight is the first night of our No Pants party. I am the official DJ for 97.3 Now, and I have a mix show for 4 hours on 97.3 Now, brought to you, powered by Milwaukee Downtown. and so it's on from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. local time. So it's a 4-hour mix. So I'm excited about that and the opportunities that are going to come from that. It's been fun so far. It's Ronnie Taylor's on in the morning and Brett Andrews and producer Dave, and they're a really fun team that I've gotten to experience so far. And I'm looking forward to things that are going to come from the future. Growing with them. I'm trying to think. Man, I'm going to Barbados. My brother's getting married, so that's on my brain. And we leave in a little over a week, and so that's all I'm thinking about right now. It's sure. Barbados. I keep tweeting Rihanna, so if Rihanna watches this Ordinary Freak podcast, we just want to hang out. I'm trying to think what else we have. We have some fun stuff coming up this summer that I'm excited about. I'm hoping. I keep my social updated pretty well. Like I said, just so many things in the works. I think that I'm trying to sort it out in my head, what's official and what's not. What's confirmed and what's not. Yeah. But if DJShawna.com or DJ Shawna on all social, I keep everything locked and loaded on there. And we have some. I know for sure for Milwaukee Pride, which is the second weekend in June. So the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, we upgraded to 4 days, and which was announced. So we have some fun stuff coming with that I'm excited about. That I don't think I can talk about yet, but I know that the Thursday was added, and I know Cash is coming, which is a really fun, amazing show that's going to be at the Dance Pavilion. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for Pride, and you guys are welcome to come as my guests. I would love to have you. So
thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll like to wrap it up with our Ordinary Freak questions.
Yeah.
So a couple of questions that we want to go through and ask you. My first question is going to be, if you could choose one person to go to dinner with, dead or alive, real or fake, who would it be and where would you take them?
And I knew this question was coming too, because I think I had the same response Gabi had just now. I was like, wow. Honestly, right now, and I don't want to cry, it would be Joe. In a second, I think you learn a lot about yourself. I think after these kinds of things change you. Hands down, in a second, I would go to dinner with Joe, and honestly, knowing him, probably wouldn't even have to talk. Just one more dinner, and I don't even care where it would be. Yeah. Just one more chance. Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
Where would you take them?
That's a good. Personally, selfishly, I love steak. So you give me a fillet and some veggies and you got good sweet potato fries, game.
Yes.
So our family loves food. I feel Milwaukee has so much good food. So I don't know if I have a place, right? But I feel lucky that we have so many options. So I would totally leave it up to him, and he probably would be like, "You want to go to that cafe down the block?" Like, yes. So just anywhere, because. Yeah, or honestly, if my mom could cook for us, for as silly as that sounds, and then she could cook, and that's what we did. That's what we did. Yeah, my mom makes a kick butt fillet too, if I may throw that out there. So if you guys are knocking on her door, don't tell her I sent you.
What would you tell somebody, a kid that's listening to you, watching this? That their whole dream, ever since they were little, kind of like yourself, wants to become a professional, anything, right? What would you tell that person?
Honestly, that one always hits me hard, because I think, again, man, you got lots of feels coming out of me right now. Maybe it's early on a Saturday, but I think one of the biggest things I want to be somebody that I think I needed when I was a kid. And I think that's why I'm so much of a kid, and why I have a heart stick figure logo is and it's not just about kids. I also feel like I get to feel, like you're saying, the energy from peers, and then an older generation as well. I think anybody from kid to as old as you want to put it, there's no stopping you. And I know that my brain is technically not a muscle, but I swear it's the strongest muscle in my body because I am relentless. And I told you guys earlier, I know I wasn't the best basketball player. I know I'm not the best DJ. I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, but I also know what I want. And I honestly I put my head down and I go. My mom always told us as we were growing up, like, pick a lane and like choose a lane and go. And you know, that's I think where that phrase like stay in your lane kind of comes from. It's never bad. I don't ever take that bad. Like I know what I'm good at and what I'm not, and it's possible. And what I think is so cool now is I imagine myself even being 13 right now and having access to the internet like I do, like we do now, like you're saying, like a 13-year-old that possibly could see this anywhere, and it's like I can't do that because I didn't have access to this when I was 13, and I don't know. I didn't feel like you hear stories right at that time. The media was TV and radio, right? Mostly like internet really wasn't as much of a force as it is now. So to me, that's what's exciting. It's like you have so much, literally in the power of your hand on your phone. Yep. So much. And I love games. I grew up playing video games, but for me, like my free time, it's almost spending time working, whether it's research or reading or like thinking about ideas. Like, and I'm not that. I don't talk about I'm grinding. I'm working 14-hour days. Like, cool. Everybody has a story. But I'm genuinely in it. And that's what I think is astounding, is the power of like what's in your hand right now, at your fingertips, literally. And you can do anything you put your mind to. But you gotta give it your best, and you have to. And if you don't know how to do something, find somebody that does, and outsource. Because again, Chad, like we talked about SEO, website, everything, managerial, business, money. I hate that stuff. I'm awful at it. He's amazing, and that's what makes us a great team. And that's when you talk about collaborating and getting together. It's awesome to do stuff like this too, but who is on your team? Who, whether, again, 13-year-old, like, you don't know how to make lemonade and you want to make a lemonade stand. Find a friend that makes kick butt lemonade and go into business with that friend. So for me, I think, again, you can do anything you put your mind to, and that's such a cliche, but it takes that next level. When you hit that roadblock, you hit that Cream City brick behind you, you have a choice. Are you going to figure out a way around it, through it, over it, however, or are you going to let it stop you? Yeah. And I just think I've never let anything stop me. I've come into plenty of roadblocks, and all you need is one yes. And right? Like that's it. It's the epitome like of the sales pitch 101, right? 100 no's for one yes. Yep. And you just need one yes. And you get that momentum, and that's one baby step forward. You set another goal, and you just keep moving forward. So I think that's the best advice, is you can do anything you put your mind to. You have to give 100%. It just doesn't happen. You gotta work.
In your experience or opinion, what's the most common reason people fail?
I know we talked about that too, and honestly, I think it's because they quit. I think things get difficult. So I can talk about basketball, I can talk about DJing, and for me, I can talk about, I have them tattooed on me, moments in time where I felt tested, and I had a choice. And sometimes I think it's the perseverance and the prevailing through. Like I said, I am not the best basketball player, and I'm not the best DJ, but I just continue to work, and I continue to persevere, and I just refuse to quit. I just refuse to quit. And a lot of people talk about that, but it's true. I think you have to have some talent, you have to have some passion, but you also have to have a mix of like resilience and determination. Yeah. Because if I couldn't play basketball, maybe that would have never been an option, right? Like, so there was talent there. I think I have some talent as a DJ, so it's there, and I can continue to build on that. But it's more than that, and that's what I think a lot of people like. Man, I'm the best like and-one hooper out here. Like, but what are you doing about it? Yeah. That's what I think it is. It's like, what are you doing about it?
Yeah, execution.
Right, exactly, execution. So that to me is like when people quote unquote fail, is that they quit. and then things get too hard. And that's okay. You know, we all have our own journey, and you find a different path, but maybe that was their 100%. I don't know. But I think, you know, for me, I set a goal, and I want to get it. Like, and I'm not going to stop until I do it.
Yeah, that's good. Before we let you go,
Yes?
I know you're a very busy person. This is a question we ask everybody that comes through and steps and shares their story. On a scale from 1 to 10, how weird are you? How much of a freak are you, and why?
Honestly, I again knew this question was coming, and I don't know the right, like, is 10 the highest? Like, it's like, how do you
interpret it however you
Oh man. This is probably, again, I'm gonna try to, I know we gotta go, but and we talked about this too. I don't know if I can put a number on it, because then I personally feel then I'm comparing myself to other people again. And that is where I try to avoid that, because I've gotten into I'm talking about, like, I want to be me. And so I think the best answer I can give you, to where I feel like I still give you an answer, my whole life I've felt different. Whether you want to say special, whatever word you want to use, that's fine, but I have definitely felt different. And I have felt there's something inside of me that you can't be taught in school, that isn't taught within four walls. It's something that I think I'm still figuring out. And right now, the best way I can identify is as an alter ego or a superhero. And like, when I'm DJ Shawna, it's a different person. It's not who I am every day. But I think there's something inside of me that is different than the norm. I don't know how I can put a value on it, but I get excited about it, and I know that lights something in you guys too, and that's why I think we get along so well. Is just learning about what we talked about this, like what we're told to do, right? Go to school, get a job 9 to 5, get married, have kids, get a house, like
retire,
dude. Right. Well,
go
not,
Florida.
right. Not to get too crazy, but my mom will tell you this story, and we can end on this. When I was in grade school, I grew up in Catholic grade school, right? I remember, we can leave it at this. I remember being told that story, right? Go to school, you're gonna get married, da da da. I was like, what if I don't want to get married? And I'm not knocking it at all, like, but that's where my brain went. And so I think there's definitely something inside of me that makes me stand out from the norm, from a normal. When you look at my peers, that definitely makes me stand out. What it is, I'm not quite sure, but I'm excited to see what happens.
All right. Well, thank you, Shawna.
Thank you very, very much, both of you. I appreciate you.
It was a pleasure having you. I really enjoyed this. You're like sparking all this.
I don't want this to end.
I'm sure Eddie's the same. Thank you, Ordinary Freaks. Here's another great episode. Make sure you guys check out Shawna. You guys can find her at DJ Shawna on all social media platforms. Check out Ordinary Freaks. We have podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, and of course, you guys can find us on YouTube. See you next time. Peace.